Welcome to the Old Miners Meanderins, a podcast about cooking, outdoor cooking. We'll talk about various forms of grilling, barbecue, smoking, and give some tips on fine indoor cooking as well. You can find the text version of these podcasts at minersmix.wordpress.com. These casts are brought to you by the folks at Miners Mix, makers of fine gourmet barbecue rubs and seasonings. If it didn't exist in 1850, it ain't in there. Feel free to visit us at minersmix.com or on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Tumblr. You can find our products on Amazon or on our website. Now gather around to hear the 4 main types of barbecue. No, it ain't beef, pork, chicken, and roadkill. There are 4 main regional varieties of traditional slow-cooked barbecue, and those what love them is usually those what growed up with them. And sometimes they'll even fight to defend them. But there really aren't any hard and fast rules about the differences between them, nor even what constitutes grilling versus barbecue. It's all just meat, usually placed on a platform of some kind and heated either directly over wood or coals, or heated indirectly off to the side a bit. So, in very general terms, here you go. Slow-cooked barbecue goes beyond the grilling steaks, various chicken, pork, or armadillo parts, or the occasional vegetable or pineapple tossed onto the grill. You have to plan your day and activities around barbecue. It's not something you do on a whim or when you're in a hurry to eat. At temperatures of 200 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit or so, and possibly up to 16 hours or so of cooking time, you just have to be patient. The original slow food, slow cooked barbecue is very much like art, based on what used to be cheaper and tougher cuts of meat. Slow cooking imparts flavor and tenderness to those cuts that just cannot be achieved by high temperature grilling. Out here in the Wild West, Kansas City style is the barbecue with which we're most familiar, and it's the dominant style of barbecue on the sauces on the local grocery store shelves. In fact, it's probably pretty darn near impossible to even find Carolina or Texas style sauces out here where the sun sets into the ocean every night. Kansas City style barbecue is characterized by thick tomato-based sauces containing mucho sugar. Kansas City style rubs are mostly brown sugar or some other form of sugar as well. It's imperative that Kansas City style barbecue be cooked slow over low heat, or you'll end up with a crispy black lump from all that charred sugar. Not good. Kansas City style barbecue usually focuses on pork ribs, and chicken. Miners Mix makes a really good barbecue rub called Kits, with flavor that mirrors these sauces. Memphis style barbecue is somewhat similar to Kansas City style, but doesn't pack nearly as much sugar. Memphis style tends to be more spicy than Kansas City style, and pork ribs or butt are usually the primary meats found in Memphis style barbecue joints. It's usually served sans sauce, but the meat might get basted occasionally while cooking. Because sauce isn't slathered on the meat, Memphis barbecue is not nearly as messy as Kansas City style. Perhaps it's not nearly as much fun to eat. If sauce is used, it's generally served at the table for dipping or pouring over pulled pork. Memphis sauce is generally thinner, runnier, and more tangy and less sweet than Kansas City style sauce. Memphis style uses rubs as well, but the sugar in Memphis style barbecue is either greatly reduced or lacking in the rub. Here again, Miners Mix makes a great Memphis rub called Meanderins. Texas barbecue focuses on beef. Might be a little chicken or pork ribs tossed in as sort of a garnish, but in general it's beef, and more beef. No squeal, no cackle. Beef brisket and beef ribs, cooked with a dry mustard and chili powder based rub. Sauces tend to be thin and bold, more like a basting or a mop sauce, and are heavy with flavor from various kinds of ground chilies, cumin, onion, hot sauce, meat drippings, and even beer or coffee. If you want your barbecue wet, then this meat gets dunked into the mop bucket of sauce prior to plating. Carolina style. As much as Texas barbecue is about beef, Carolina style is about pork. What kind of pork, you ask? Pretty much all but the squeal. From the pork butt and ribs all the way up to the whole critter done in a pit. Not much, if any, rub is used. This barbecue is sauce-based. Carolina sauce is general, is thin and watery, tangy and peppery. Depending on the Carolina region you're talking about, the sauce might be golden yellow from the mustard base or clear and vinegar based, and it might contain floating flecks of cayenne. Being tangy from the vinegar, the sauce cuts right through the fat in the ribs and the butt and soaks into the meat while cooking. Like the other 3 styles above, there are many variations on this theme. Thanks for joining us today.